You win!
Hi there. Impressed, huh? Nah, that was nothing. Every pro player can do that. After all, what you just saw was pure mediocrity. I like fighting games, but in the last few years I've actually played only 2 games of the genre. One is Tekken, and the other is the topic for this video. Which is not good because fighting games have come a long way these past few decades. And the players improve alongside them to godlike levels, while I stagnated like a puddle inside a used tire. Fighting game community is as large as any, even with its own esports league. Most notably, EVO, or Evolution Championships. It's always been my dream to play at EVO, but it seems like I need practice. A lot of practice. And what better way than to practice till I reach the top? With the very first fighting game I ever played, it's stylish. It's extremely fast-paced. It's either brain dead simple or fucking big brain esoteric. It influenced my taste in music, games, and anime, and hentai too. Guilty Gear X2 Reload is the 3rd main installment of the series, and also the 7th game in the whole franchise. Yeah, I'm confused as well. Holy shit, this game that we released a lot. It's a quintessential fighting game during 2003, I guess. 2D anime fighting games are known to have extremely fast gameplay, and Guilty Gear is a good example. You will learn to react, counter, and block a barrage of attacks from the CPU or a real player. You will perform all the stupid bullshit to do some serious damage. Every input you will make will become muscle memory, because you will be subjected to the mechanics. Like any other fighting game, you've got your basic movement and attacks, or what the FGC calls your normals. If you use the keyboard to play like a dumbass weirdo, the WASD and the arrow keys are for movement. For your normals, J is for punch, U is for kick, I is your slash, O is your heavy slash, L is for dust, and the taunt and respect buttons can be put anywhere you want. It doesn't really matter. If you use a controller like any other dumbass, have your joystick movement, triangle for punch, cross for kick, circle for slash, square for heavy slash, and I think R1 is dust, or is it R2? If you use the other type of controller like the other type of dumbass, you have your joystick movement, Y is for punch, A is for kick, B is for slash, X is for heavy slash, R1 to dust. If you use a fighting game arcade stick, can I borrow yours? These buttons are your lifeline. Different directional inputs combined with different attacks are your command normals, which results to all sorts of shit and far more damage. Every character has their own rendition of these attacks. The dust attack sends your opponents flying. If you jump alongside them, you can abuse them with mid-air combos. Hold the direction opposite to your opponent to block their attempt to cock block you. Open up the menu and look for this line of inputs to perform. These are overdrives, or what we call supers. These are attacks that could kick your ass in the most badass of ways. Characters may have one or multiple overdrives under their belt. Yeah, should I explain everything? I haven't gone through half of everything yet. There's so much jargon to get through. You know what? Fuck it. Pro tip. If you use a keyboard, position your hands like so. For people using controllers, for people using arcade sticks. And then this is how you achieve victory in every round. Well, 5 out of 10 games at least. Your movements will become chaos incarnate. Even you yourself cannot comprehend. Attacks will become 50% more powerful, probably. And there's a 50-50% chance you will perform an overdrive by accident. This will put your opponents to despair. You may lose to people who know their shit, but to the people who will inevitably lose to your superior movements, you will look like a pro. Tip over. Seriously, there's still a lot to learn about this game, and I've barely scratched the surface. Gameplay is your standard fighting game fare. For each round, damage your opponent till you deplete their health bar. Well, of course, they can do the same to you. Make sure to beat your opponent before the time ends, or you risk losing to a technicality. But like I said, your opponents won't make it easy. Flashback. Because I had no internet when I was young, nor did I have friends who can game with me, I wasn't able to play against other players in matches. And so to vent my frustration, I beat the shit out of the AI. But eventually though, I got bored. And so I went to the options menu and changed the difficulty to a higher setting, which was a huge mistake. Ever since then, my life has spiraled down an abyss. Faultless defenses and dead angle attacks. I was forced to learn mix-ups and Roman cancels. I fucking can't even pull off most of them. But that's not what I'm here for, baby. I am the crazy man who plays fighting games for the story. Yes, I might deserve to be put in a mental asylum, but tell that to the guys who made the wiki. Guilty Gear is one of the most convoluted plotlines in any game franchise, comparable to what Kojima could pull off, or whatever is happening on Kingdom Hearts. Most of it even predates the timeline of the first fucking game. I will now try my best to summarize it with all my power. In this alternate reality on 1999, the Dawn Revival, which is a whole kind of world in itself, occurred, which led to the ban of all technology all over the world. With the lack of tech, the apostles appeared and taught humanity magic. Years later, in 2016, the Gear project was started, with the man, that's his name, researched these cells called gears, which apparently makes evolution go vroom vroom. They make the first ever gear prototype, named the Flame of Corruption, the Immoral Flame, or the Gorilla. After the research facility was mysteriously destroyed, the first gear creature is never heard again, but the man apparently continued his research. 2073, 4 years before the disappointment, the man has made a complete and flawless gear, named Justice. A year later, Justice goes berserk and fucking nukes Japan off the face of the earth, only leaving a massive hole where Japan used to be. Holy shit. Justice gained control of all the gears and declared war against humanity. Then the Sacred Order of Holy Knights is formed. After years and years of war, Justice is finally sealed in a dimensional prison. In 2180, the second Holy Order selection tournament was announced, and this is where the first Guilty Gear storyline begins. Which means I'm not even at 10% of the whole plot. I could go on, but this is a topic that definitely needs its own video, and I will make one. You bet I will. And what is a convoluted story without its equally strange ensemble of characters? Strap in, because we've got a full roster to run through. First, we've got the main character, Soul Bad Guy. Sorry about that. Saul is a close to mid-range fighter, though in recent games his range is mostly reduced. But from the past to the present, Saul still hits like a dump truck. His overdrive, dragon install, doubles his speed and power, and even improves upon his specials. His movesets are easy for beginners, but extremely effective in the hands of a pro, just like myself. Gaze upon my impeccable strategy. Kai Kisuke is your Shodo archetype. When you hit, your opponents get shocked, which increases the damage of your projectiles. You can dish out damage at close range, and can shove projectiles into your ass at long range. This guy can do both, but he's not good at any of it. His combos are slow and too clunky for me. His overdrives are both long and close range, but all of them are easily readable. But in the future, he gets to clap those gear cheeks. So, a great character overall. Next is Axelo, your typical zoner. His normals are mid to long range pokes, which can be annoying. Get up close and he will get into trouble, but be careful, he's still got some damaging mix-ups. He's really fucking slow, but he can keep his opponents distant for most of the round. His overdrive's got a lot of range and can fucking kill you. Also, he's British. May is the SeaWorld CEO. He throws fucking dolphins at mid-range. She can rush you down on 1-2. Extremely unpredictable. She hits fucking hard as well with fast normals and bulky specials. Her overdrives are long combos, or a whale that covers the whole fucking screen. There is no salvation. Only death by Yamada-san. Johnny, the captain of the Jellyfish Pirates, is your sword fighter. His Mist Finder hits fast but recovers really slow. In fact, he's fucking slow. Can't even dash properly. But what he lacks in controlled movement, he makes up for sudden bursts of speed. You can even change positions with your opponent. If you hit your opponent with your coins, your Mist Finder does more damage and a longer combo. Also, I'm pretty sure this guy is based off Johnny Bravo. by now. An American orphan taught in the ways of the ninja, Evangelion, and hentai. A rushdown character to the core. Though he doesn't really hit that hard, his attacks hit fast and non-stop, overly relying that his opponents won't have time to react or counter. But the reduced health is a problem. Fun fact, he's a future president. Vote for Chip. And now for the opposite end of the spectrum. Potemkin is the absolute definition of a grappler. Look at this massive specimen. You are in absolute trouble when he gets up close. His overdrive Potemkin Buster requires timing but will chop off your health bar. In fact, I think everything he has can stomp you to the ground. He is slow, but his heavy slash has fucking massive damage at mid-range. You know I'd be spamming this shit. Target neutralized. To counter the grappler supremacy, we've got another virgin zoner. Venom is a projectile zoner using cue balls as ammo. His long-range attacks require setups and are really tricky for beginners. But you better be quick because those projectiles will travel across the whole screen. But he does lose his advantage when you finally get up close. I'm not really a big fan for Axel's more flexible long-range normal. Also, this Edgelord is a massive fucking simp. Zato 1 or Eddie. Okay, explanation. That dark amorphous creature is Eddie, and that body is Zato 1. That guy is actually already dead and probably decomposing. Eddie is just carrying it around like a puppet. Speaking of puppets, this guy is actually the puppet archetype. Nice segue, thanks. Your specials can summon Eddie, and depending on which normal you press, Eddie does his own rendition. In Xrd, my heart drops every time I play against an Eddie player in rank mode. They will fuck you up. I mean, come on, what can you do against an ecophiliac? Milia Rage is a mid to close range character. I don't know why, but I always instinctively hit the pause screen every time she jumps. It's strange. She is very much like Kai Kisuke, except she actually does a better job. She will whack you at mid-range and beat your ass at close range. Her overdrives are either close range or long range, just like Kai, except a lot more better. I find her to be the most versatile and accessible for beginners, but it's really hard to play when the pause screen always pops up. Slayer is the Unga Bunga for the more sophisticated gorilla. Though not as fast as Chip, he definitely is as powerful as Sol. He's even got a Falcon Punch, which I almost always abuse. Also, he's got an immortal wife, which he uses as a personal infinite blood bank. Did I mention he's a vampire? The Doctor, Faust, the strangest character in the series. Well, relatively. The Doctor is unpredictable. He's got specials that teleport him behind or over the opponent. His attacks have range and are hard to read. His overdrives are hard to avoid and may even backfire. People say he's the joke character of the game, but I believe the people who underestimate the good Doctor is the real joke. Zappa is a guy who is possessed by multiple spirits, I think. He doesn't really want to fight, but his body keeps getting snatched by this crazy bitch. The guy can summon different ghosts to use as attacks, such as this trio of dead crazy people, the Black Hound, and a very dangerous weapon for the depressed. Next, we've got the Princess of the Gears. Dizzy is a very complicated character to use. If you have some dignity. Me, I spam the forward slash every time I can. I'm kidding, I also do one overdrive. You fucking noob, you might say. What can I do? Most of her attacks are projectiles that hit like a burning brick. But my athletic fingers aren't fast enough to set them up. Also, look at this. How can I possibly do that under pressure? Testament is a stalker. Ooh. Ooh. A massive simp can't even simp properly. Get fucking lost. Everything he does for that hero that doesn't even notice him. Seriously, I don't like this guy. His movesets are weak and overly relies on traps and setups. It's bullshit. Stalker, boo. On already. Hello, 991? Next, we've got Jam Corrado Berry. I like her name a lot. She's a martial artist who uses ki. She can chain up long combos really fast. She can even power up her own specials. She's a half rushdown and half setup character. Also, she's one of my favorites in game. I find her voice very soothing as well. Can we have her back in Strive, please? Baiken is a samurai. That's it. She's got the same problems as Johnny and Kai. Slow swords, though she's a lot more flexible than both. In the future games though, she'll receive an absolute glow up, both in appearance and moveset. And Genito is Japanese. He's got the smoothest movement in the game. It's really easy to connect his normals and combos. And, did I mention he's Japanese? Ino is the boss of the game. The sexy songstress is a very complicated character to master. Her specials are aerial, combos, and fast, with difficult input. Definitely not for the casual beginner. This is the second most character I fear the most. Well, not that there's a lot of people who know how to play as her. Robo Kai is the better version of Kai. This guy has the stupidest overdrives, but damn do they hurt. Unlike the original, he is faster and easier to use. I'm starting to think that Kai is the imposter. Okay, the next two characters are a pain to unlock. Holy shit, the grinding I did was torture and most likely why this video took a while. But I did it all, just for you. Yes, you. Like and subscribe. Cliff Anderson, one of my favorites. His specials are extremely spammable and are fucking amazing. He's a bit slow, but use that to your advantage. Let your opponents come to you and... Next is the one and only Justice, a gear who is guilty of many sins. Her attacks hit fast and hurt like ass. Despite her crazy appearance, I feel like she's the most generic character of the whole series. I don't know why. And lastly, we've got Bridgette. Ah yes, Heartbreaker Bridgette, the conqueror of men, the deceiver of boys. What would? And that is the whole roster for Guilty Gear X2. Guilty Gear has one of the most varied characters in any fighting game. Like, come on, in Tekken, everyone is a martial artist. Everyone in Street Fighter is also a martial artist. Do they have a doctor who fights with a scalpel? No. Do they have an angel who suffers from bipolar disorder? No. Do they have a possessed Australian who fights with ghosts? They wasn't there. Do they have a rockstar witch and partial nudity?
Those who I wish to protect. I will fight you!
Almost everyone in this game is very memorable in their own way, even more so in future games. Of course, the game comes in different modes. Arcade mode puts you against AI opponents with increasing difficulty until you reach the final boss, Ino. Defeat her and you get an artwork respective to the character you used. MOM, or Medals of Millionaire, has you compete with high scores as you shake down your opponents for coins and such. Training mode is where you train. Not that it helps. It just drops you into the whole thing unceremoniously. There isn't even a preview for the moves. CPU mode is just the game against the AIs. Two-player mode is where the fun is at. Me and my friends or siblings had a banger time with this game. Unfortunately for them, I had practice while they're away. Fun fact, if you don't have two controllers, you can divide the keyboard like so, for first player and for second player. Next is story mode and mission mode. Remember what I said that I fucking grinded to unlock Cliff and Justice? These are the three options to do it. In mission mode, if you complete 50 missions, you can unlock them. But holy shit, the missions are atrocious. It all starts simple at first. Can't do damage with normals. You can't do damage with specials. Only do damage with overdrives. Yada yada. After a while you notice how the rules are bullshit. The AI cheats, attacks won't hit, or maybe I'm just shit. I grinded for hours and hours and I reached a titanium ceiling. I have almost reached 50 missions completed. I'm at 43. I can't fucking take it no more. Survival is what it sounds like. Every damage you do increases the level of difficulty. Higher the level, the higher the AI. I think if you reach level 230, you can unlock those characters. But I didn't even try, and you can't force me. I did the other option. It's this or a mental asylum. Story mode. Each character has their own story with 3 paths. They will overlap with each other. Some are canon, some are definitely not. Each of these 3 paths requires specific actions to get them. Link in the description. It's not as cinematic as the newer games, but I love it so much. They even have voice acting, which is pretty impressive. It lets you peer into the stories and personalities within each character. Complete all 60 paths and you unlock the Injustice. I grinded my ass for these 2 shits and only one of them was worth the trouble. But, not gonna lie, this looks satisfying as fuck. The third way I could unlock them was to keep the game open for 3 whole fucking days. No, my crap tap is already at its last legs. Guilty Gear is a solid fighting game that has been re-released and rebalanced 5 times. For the uninitiated and uneducated, just like me, Guilty Gear X2 Reload is a great game for beginners. Speed and precision is needed. A ton of input and mastery is required. Fun and interesting characters, weird titties and anime. Score, gameplay, 3 characters. 4, the turning point of my childhood. 2, 9 out of 10 baby. Yeah. It's the game that made me appreciate fighting games. At first it didn't really resonate with me. I have not played this game that fateful day. I would have grown well adjusted.